everybody, welcome to an episode of Local Anarchy. Today we're going to be discussing the internet. What do you think of it?
Well, it's a great place, freedom of expression, just say so much shit. Okay, I love trolls so much, it's just so fun to be around, it's really funny.
The internet has really messed up things from like neo-Nazis to people who think they have a black soul even though their race is white.
Do you guys like the internet? Do you think it's useful? Do you think it's unnecessary? What do you think?
It's useful, very useful for my homework and to express the hate I have inside me.
So on a serious note, do you actually advocate hatred through the internet or cyberbullying, stuff like that?
Well, of course I do, dipshit.
But there are obviously lots of horrible things on the internet. You can tell sometimes when there are genuine bigoted comments like rape threats or death threats, and then when there are like troll things like if you're scrolling down a YouTube video and you see an account called Adolf Hitler saying Allahu Akbar, it's pretty obviously a joke trying to get a rise out of people.
No, I think there's sometimes problems where you can't really distinguish trolls and real actually bad people.
That's true.
So out of curiosity, but I went to the neo-Nazi, I think, what's the word?
Stormfront.
No.
That's actually a neo-Nazi website,
No, the national anthem, I was the only one the anthem for Nazi Germany. And I see all these comments, I'm like, are these trolls or are they actually neo-Nazis? I'm actually scared for our society.
So where do you draw the line between freedom of speech and just being an idiot?
I mean, it's pretty obvious. I feel like governments should monitor these websites already, but I think they do. Websites like Stormfront, I was doing some research on Nazism and I came across the website accidentally. I didn't know it was an actual neo-Nazi website.
No, I disagree with any sort of regulation on the internet. Internet is free for all, do whatever, I'm fine with it. Because it's the internet.
I don't really think it should be
there are
regulated because of the sheer volume of people that use it. So I think it would be physically impossible to regulate such a large, audience.
No, when it comes to harassment, I'm all for, like getting the trolls, I guess, the harassers in trouble, but when it comes...
The trolls?
Not only trolls, but like people who commit cyberbullying.
I don't care about trolls because there are actual neo-Nazis out there. But the thing is, it's hard to distinguish between trolls and actual neo-Nazis.
No, I disagree with the government getting involved with like neo-Nazis posting hate comments. But when it comes to actual harassment of people and like causing people to do something in real life, I'm for intervention.
You disagree with the government stopping neo-Nazis from posting hatred. There's a difference between... But isn't that encouraging more racism?
No, because then there's going to be a fine line of what's acceptable and what's not.
But it's not acceptable for a neo-Nazi to post a hate comment.
I think it's fine. As long as they're not committing any sort of violence in real life.
It's still encouraging violence.
I disagree with that.
That's where that white supremacist who shot up the black church got his ideas from.
But where does the internet come into that?
There's an entire organization. It's literally called Stormfront. If you just googled it now, it's an entire website with millions of people around the world who are white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
I guess they enable having access to extremist views. But the thing is, if they're going to search it up, they're probably having extremist views anyway. So it doesn't really help. Whether you censor these websites or not.
I feel like they should be deleted more because there's still a lot of violent content. But then again, I understand your point because there are things like the black market and everything. People are being trafficked. There's things being illegally sold, so that's understandable.
I think we need to get our priorities straight, get on to actual illegal behaviour, not just people voicing their stupid opinions. Because let's be honest, it's just stupid, it's just retarded. No one gives a shit about what they say. But we just need to, handle trafficking and stuff like that on the internet.
But don't you think because the internet is such a open place, you can, although you might not actively be committing an act of violence when you're spreading hate on the internet, people use it as a means to congregate or arrange attacks. So it's all a question of accessibility, right? So if you have the internet, you have a higher chance of being able to commit those physical crimes. So where do you draw the line between, I'm just giving my opinion on the internet and, I'm actually going to do something with it?
Well, basically, I think, it's like one of my cousins says, the internet should be classed as a human right. He basically said that because we live in such a technological society, even people in third world countries can't access the internet, but it's a necessary means for communication. So we need it, but there should be, of course, limitations between freedom of speech and actual bigoted comments. Because people do organise hate crimes.
The thing is, I don't think there's a problem with them getting together and voicing their shitty opinions, but it's not like the internet, the open internet doesn't give them access to weapons in which they can openly harm people, but
Yeah,
in my
but to
opinion-
you it would be a shitty opinion, but to the majority of people it would affect them. So think about it from the perspective of people in general, not just yourself.
It's like that story. A couple of weeks ago, there were two white girls from Colorado in America. They were being trialed as adults for planning a mass murder, a high school shooting based on the Columbine high school shooting. And they got the idea from their gothic horror Tumblr
But
blogs.
that's not really because of the internet. That's because they have the ability, so they have the weapons to do so. They have the guns. Here in the UK, we're in the UK by the way, but like we don't have guns. Even if you try to organise some weird shit on the internet, you don't have the accessibility to obtain such strong weapons to actually harm people. They're just voicing words.
Yeah, but it's the fact that they had the typical, Tumblr hipster suicide blogs. So many of these teenagers have all these weird blogs. That there's an entire fandom that worships serial killers.
Oh yeah,
Which is,
yeah.
made
That's
accessible by the
ridiculous.
internet, precisely. Okay,
Yeah.
so what if we shift the tone away from fanatics and serial killers and the perspective of what good it can do? Would you be able to live without the internet?
Definitely
No.
not.
I cannot.
Elaborate.
It's like how food and water is to human beings. We need it, especially in this day. I don't know how else I'd communicate.
But we don't need it, but it is a necessity in the sense of I need this luxury.
And I feel like people in the third world genuinely can benefit. Other than luxury, it's a source of information and everything else.
Information.
I mean, we're so dependent on the internet now for pretty much anything.
So what would you say to people who think that it is a bad thing that we are so dependent, like you said, on the internet as we are on food and water? I think that's quite an exaggeration comment, don't you think?
No, I think it's silly. It's like those pretentious people who say, oh, teenagers, they're too stuck on technology today. Well, even before this technology existed, what were families doing? They were playing chessboards, they were reading their books, they weren't talking to each other back then. So it's not a huge difference now.
So you really don't think they were as communicative with each other before the internet?
No, I don't think, because family values back then was very conservative, and not just in our own cultures but in Western society too.
No, I actually disagree because when we have access to internet, we spend more time on the internet. It's not. It does prevent like some people to be isolated in themselves within the internet and not communicate with others. It like increases antisocialness in my opinion.
But number one, if that person is being is isolating themselves from other people, then maybe they don't have a good relationship with their family. That's probably the parents' problem, or they're not monitoring it.
No,
enough.
but in the case it's just internet addiction. You like the things that you see on the internet, so you spend your time on it and you don't spend time with your friends.
Then again, you could argue the converse and say you have family that are living overseas, or you have people that, in your family that joined the army and you need to speak to them. Obviously, the internet is a very important tool to allow you to do that. So, in that sense, yeah, you could always argue back and forth.
I mean, the internet only came into existence around the early 90s, right? It's just amazing to see how much has progressed, and it's because we were born around that generation. We're so used to it now. It's a huge part of our life.
Yeah, also it's actually important to differentiate between the internet and technology. I feel like we always kind of blur the lines between that. There's a fine line between internet itself, like the interweb space, and physical technology that we use. At what age would you allow your kids to use the internet? Presuming you would find a partner that could tolerate you, so.
Well, ideally,
Okay.
ideally, we're probably around 14 or 15, but realistically, that's not going to happen. I mean, when I was like 10, that was the first time I accessed the internet, and there was some weird shit that I came across. And who knows how it's going to be in the future. It's going to be easy for them to access it anyway.
So conversely, would you like them to learn about the internet from an early age so you can teach them what's kind of the right part of the internet, what to look out for, how to deal with cyberbullying, etc.?
Yes, definitely. That would make more sense because they're going to use it either way. So I might as well tell them how it works and what sites to avoid.
Okay, let me give you a scenario. What if you walked into your kid's room and they're,
Jacking
let's
off.
see, 12, 13 years old, and they're looking at porn, but they're not necessarily jacking off, but
Sure.
they're just,
But they're going to get slapped.
they're curious.
Kidding. No, that's gross. That's fucking gross. Yeah, I'd make sure I'd...
Regulate the porn.
You know the you know those Sky websites where you just like
Parental controls on it.
That's what my mom did to me when I was like younger.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even realize there were certain websites that weren't even sexual or inherently pornographic, but I couldn't go on them because they were deemed inappropriate or adult.
Fair enough.
If I were to put parental blocks, I'd make it manual to do it myself and choose which websites not to go. Because if it's automatic,
Make
they just
yourself
ban
admin.
they just ban anything that sounds shady, even though it's not. Like, for example, when like kids are looking for sexual education on the internet, they'll block it because of the stupid parental blocks, which just randomly goes after anything.
There's the argument of, you know, kids being very impressionable, so what exactly do you filter and what do you not, and if you don't, would you rather have your child be exposed to these kind of things and then explain to them that, look, this is not how it is in real life in regards to porn, or, you know, this is not the right way to act in regards to violence. In my opinion, I would probably just let my kid explore and let them see for themselves what they think is right
Really?
and what they think isn't right.
But,
Yeah.
But kids will stumble across pornography, and how will they decide what is right and wrong?
Well, obviously they'll be there to guide them, and, you know.
But realistically, no child's gonna go up to their mom and say, "Hey mom, I stumbled across porn for the first time. What is it? These men and women were doing weird stuff in rude places."
Yeah, big black cocks. Yeah. I think like what we all need to consider is that when you have a child, you leave them in China. That's it. You just leave them in the fucking street. It's fuck children. Fuck that shit.
That's not true. Where the hell did you hear that from?
No, it's my truth.
Oh,
Well,
okay,
it's,
fair
well,
enough.
it's the two-child policy now.
Yeah, but that's another discussion.
For another day.